Okay, I suggest you pause this and read over the question first. Ask yourself what you might try. The key realization here is even though there's 4 different types of books, in this particular question, at least in step 1, they can all be thought of as either poetry books or non-poetry books. In other words, the 4 novels, 4 plays, and 5 nonfiction can all be lumped together because there's nothing separating them out here in this question. So if he wants to include no more than 2 poetry books, that breaks it down into 3 cases. That could be 0 poetry books, 1 poetry book, or 2 poetry books. So what I would suggest we do first is pick the 10 books, and there's going to be 3 cases for how to do that based on how many poetry books we have. So in case 1, we have 0 poetry books. If we have 0 poetry books, then we have to pick 10 books from the remaining 13. So I'm doing 4 plus 4 plus 5. So that would be 13 choose 10, or the combination. Anytime I say choose, I'm talking about a combination. So that would be 13 choose 10. Case 2, we would have 1 poetry book. So this would be 5 choose 1. We could go ahead and choose our poetry book first. And then we need 9 more books to finish out the 10. So in that case, we have 13 choose 9. 5 choose 1 times 13 choose 9. And that would give us case 2. Case 3, we would then want 2 poetry books. So similarly, we would take 5 choose 2, all the different ways we could choose 2 of the 5 poetry books. And then we would need 8 more books. So that would be 13 choose 8. So it'd be 5 choose 2 times 13 choose 8. And if we add up those 3 cases, that's all the ways that we could get 10 books. After we've done that, we still need to plan the order in which they should be read. So we take that number, the total of the 3 cases, and we would multiply it times 10 factorial. That's the number of ways to take 10 items and put them in order. Essentially, you have 10 books to choose from now for the first one to be read, then 9 remaining for the second one, then 8 for the third one, and so on. So you would take that total from the first part, multiply by 10 factorial. So let me go ahead and run those calculations here. Again, TI is a better way to do it, but I don't have a good way to share my screen at the moment. So I'm going to do no poetry books. Okay, I'm doing it up here at the top in the search bar. That would be 13 choose 10. Then I'd have 1 poetry book, so 5 choose 1, which is just 5, but for cleanness sake, I'm typing it out here. And then we would have the case that is 2 poetry books. So I choose 2 out of the 5, and then fill in the remaining 8 from the 13 non-poetry books. So this entire thing here would give me the total ways to get my 10 books so that I didn't have more than 2 poetry. But then I need to multiply that by 10 factorial to go ahead and put those in order. And that's going to give me a big number. And let's see how we want this times 10 scientific notation to the hundreds. So that would be 6.07. And let's count it out. Let's just see real quick if there's scientific. Let's just try it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 6.07 times 10 to the 10th. I'm going to put in 6.07 times 10 to the 10th and submit it. Okay, and if we want to include all 4 plays, And it doesn't really tell us what we're doing with poetry anymore, so I'm assuming we don't need no more than 2 poetry books anymore. We'll see. They should be a little bit clear about that since it's connected, but oh well. If we want to include all 4 plays, well then we already know that those are 4 of our 10. So the becomes, how do we choose 6 books from the remaining 14? 4 plus 5 plus 5. So that's just 14 choose 6. And that will get us our 10 books. And then we still put them in order again. So let's do that again. That would be 14 choose 6. And again, those other 4, there's not really any choice because we have to choose. You could put 4 choose 4. This would not be incorrect, but 4 choose 4 is just 1, which is why I didn't type it initially. And then this is getting the 10 books. Now we're putting the 10 books in order. Okay, and we have this number right here, and I assume we're doing hundredths place again. So we have 1.09 times 10 to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1.09 times 10 to the 10th. And let's see if I correctly predicted what they meant by that question. There we go.